I mentioned at the beginning of my talk this evening that there are really two avenues to a knowledge of the resurrection of Jesus. There's the historical avenue that we talked about tonight. But then there's also that personal existential avenue that the Easter hymn writer talks about when he says, I know he lives because he lives within my heart. And I believe that both of these are equally valid ways to a knowledge of Jesus' resurrection.
I'm in a conversation right now on Facebook, text conversation, back and forth. And the thought occurred to me that I think I want to talk about the pattern that I see, that I have seen over the past couple of years when talking to Christians. And the pattern is, it has two main themes, and that is love and fear. Those, I think, are the psychological type emotions that are the real reasons Christians believe what they believe. When you ask a Christian, why do they believe what they believe, they'll talk about their personal experiences. Things like, I love Jesus, and Jesus loves me. He saved me from my sins. He changed my life. I've experienced things that cannot be coincidence. He helped me do this certain thing. And when I'm in a community of believers, it really sustains me. You know, I must say I have huge respect for atheists that don't believe in any gods, have a tough life, let's say are not doing well financially, maybe even in poor health, and yet they still survive. Can you imagine Christians? Some of you are listening, you have sucky lives. Can you imagine if you didn't have God to help you? Well, that's the atheist life. But you know what? They survive. They do it. How? Because they have friends, they have family, they have a community as well. But anyhow, I digress. So the progression I see is personal experience first. But once you lead them through that, hey, personal experience doesn't necessarily mean what you believe is true. You know, I felt this, I experienced that, so that means Allah's true. You know, no Christian would admit to that. So why would they admit it for themselves? Some of them do. They just say, well, in my case, it's real. In their case, it's fake. Or it's really my God, not theirs, and blah, 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 blah. But I think the intelligent Christians realize, you know, maybe I shouldn't go down that path. So then step two, personal experience is step one. Step two, they go into the historical evidence. They talk about all the thousands of manuscripts, unheard of for an ancient document or documents. They'll talk about prophecy. Only God could have foreseen this to happen. They talk about eyewitnesses. Isn't it amazing that we have these eyewitness sources? And they talk about all the authors telling a consistent story over so many years. But when you press them on evidence one by one, I think you'll find out that they do doubt. They do doubt these individual things, but then they always fall back on, but if you look at it, the cumulative case, it's rock solid. All the individual things could be doubted, but when you put them all together, no, this has to be true. But if you can get them to doubt on enough of these historical pieces of evidence, which actually can be done, then they'll go to step 3 of the progression. And so go step 1, personal experience. Step 2, historical evidence. Step 3 is Pascal's wager. And that's where the fear comes in. Step 1 is the love. Jesus loves me. I love Jesus. Step 3 is fear. And that is, well, Doug, if you're wrong, you've risked everything. There's this place called hell, don't you know? Or you won't go to heaven, or you'll be eternally separated from God. But if I'm wrong, well, so what? Now, and this progression exactly happened in this conversation I'm having right now on Facebook. But what Christians don't get is that Pascal wager works right back at them. So if you ask questions like, well, what if the Jews are right? Christians, I don't see any way around this. If Jesus is not God, you are worshiping a false god. You're breaking the first commandment. God, Yahweh, is a jealous God. He does not like that. That's why it's the first commandment according to the Old Testament. You're doing a really bad thing if you're wrong. And if there is a hell, you might be more likely to go there than an atheist because you're purposely worshiping a false god. Atheists don't. But when I say those things, if you were to try that with a Christian, they will automatically say, well, I don't deal in hypotheticals. This is what just happened to me. Yeah, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. But anyhow, so I'm serious. If you're an unbeliever, even if you're a Jew or a Muslim and you're talking to a Christian, ask them why they believe, and you'll see, and if you can keep the conversation going, you'll see this progression unfold. Personal experience, historical evidence, and then the fear, Pascal's wager, hell. And that leads me to my last thought that this will be a short video. My last thought of today was a challenge for Christian, or a question for Christians is, why is leaving Christianity bad?
Christians have a problem. 75% of our young people, 3 out of every 4, walk away from the church once they leave the home. Intellectually, they don't know why Christianity is true. They run into liberalism. They run into atheism. And they don't know how to handle it.
Like, really, why is leaving Christianity bad? And you'll give an answer, and then after you give an answer in your head, or you can even put it in the comment section, pretend I'm going to ask, well, why is that bad? So, for example, if you say leaving Christianity is bad because it's true, I'll ask, well, why is leaving something, not committing one's life to something true, bad? Like, for example, there's many truths in this world that I don't commit my life to, that I don't even care about. Why would, not caring or leaving it be bad? Seriously, think about that. Well, then they will go on, well, because you won't have meaning and purpose, you have no basis for morality and so forth. Well, why is that bad? Are non-believers any less moral than believers? It seems like non-believers can have meaning and purpose as well. Why is leaving Christianity bad? If I was born and raised in a vegan family and I said, Mom, Dad, I have some bad news. I'm leaving veganism. Would they break down in tears? Maybe, but I doubt it. Would they be traumatized? Why are Christian parents left in tears when they find out their child has left Christianity? It's because they fear hell. That's why. Christianity is a belief system based on carrots and sticks. Carrots, heaven; sticks, hell.